Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Relative Pitch. I hope you're having a great time, and we will officially have to say Happy Black History Month. Okay, Happy
Yes.
Black History Month, and in this beautiful month, we're doing nothing but celebrating the beautiful accomplishments of our Black brothers and sisters, and just beautiful people in general. Like, I just think that this month, first of all, we celebrated all year long. That's first and foremost. But
Every
for
day,
the regular
365.
people, 365 days. But for the regular people, this month is dedicated to Black History Month. And just, it's started off being really great. So, but how has everybody been? How's, January went and how's February for y'all?
Child, January was about near 8 months.
Eight days. Yes.
Let's start with that.
Yes.
Not 8 months. I think
About-
it was a year.
right. Like, I forget how long January really truly actually is. And like, it's been busy. Like, I feel like it's been a lot going on. Lots of good things. I feel like it's kind of setting us up for a lot of momentum and even things that feel like there's a chapter closing. It's in a good way. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like sometimes when things don't necessarily like go your way, it's easy to be like, "Oh man, this is going to put me off." But especially the front of the year, there's something so hopeful about, "Oh, well, we got that excuse my language. We got it out of the way." You
Ah.
like get it out of the way early so the
No,
year
it's not even minute two, Lauren Cussin.
sorry. But like get it out of the way early on and make way for what's actually supposed to be there. So that's what I'm feeling very grateful for, that January has been lots of momentum, lots of beautiful things. And the things that no longer need to be there has removed itself.
I
Hopefully.
would say in this month, I've had already in
Mm,
the first couple of days uh, a feeling of peace,
mm,
peace.
February or January?
February,
Oh,
February.
okay, okay.
January was just long, but February, in the first couple of days, I have found peace.
mm,
And I think it's because it's Black History Month, because what the thing is, um, even in through trials and tribulations,
amen.
peace is still there. Peace,
Mm,
peace, be still. That's what the Bible say. Y'all need to turn your Bibles and read them because that's what it says. Peace, be still.
Get some
So
script.
um, I think exactly what you were saying, Lauren, that it is the beginning of the year, and there you have a whole year. There's opportunities that are still there. When one door closes, another one opens, and
Mhm.
you must go through that door and find your blessings.
amen.
Find those. Those are
And,
most
some- and sometimes when one door closes, a window opens. You crawl through that window, and there's four doors.
Oh
important.
my gosh.
You
And
gotta find. You gotta find your peace, and then you gotta protect
mm,
your peace.
amen. Protect the
So,
people.
like, if you are in a situation right now where, let's say, you're a freelancer and you teaching at schools, and you leave with a headache
Mm.
Mm,
and you dread going there,
mm.
just quit.
Ooh,
The money will come. Just quit. I'm telling you, you got to protect your peace.
protect the child.
Well,
If
that
you
actually makes that I feel that because people don't talk enough about like you're not supposed to leave work, school feeling bad. Like there are gonna be days that happen where you just can't control. You're not feeling great, right? Or something happened out of your control. You don't feel good. But if you're consistently, let's say 4 out of 5 days a week, leaving your current situation and not feeling great, and that's normal, we might need to reevaluate. Like what are your goals? What are you doing with this? Maybe this is the point where it was the thing that you needed to do at the time. Now it's overstayed its welcome and it's time to move on to whatever the next thing is. But you shouldn't be suffering.
Amen.
Like,
correct,
Amen.
you should not be suffering in anything. Personal practice, personal growth.
Mm.
Like your personal growth should not be stunted by your professional development. Oh, that
Ooh,
was good. That was good. That was good. That's a clip.
right,
Clip.
that's a clip.
That was your personal. I'm gonna say it again. Your personal growth cannot be stunted by your professional development.
mm, mm. Ooh, that's a word.
Amen.
One is
That's
because,
I did go to church this morning.
oh, amen.
child, he didn't learn no scriptures. Didn't learn no scriptures. But, I think as we have just professed long and long on this podcast is stop equating your personal growth with your profession, your professional life, your career, because
Mm.
you have to develop as a person as well. And I think when you realize that the person needs to be developed too, as you're developing your career, you'll realize bad things might happen in your career from time to time, but you still sitting here whole. You
Ooh.
still have your peace. You still have your mind to get up and do something again to make it better.
Mm.
Because when something maybe not the best happening in your professional career and it completely takes the rest of your personal life, that's how you know you're too connected. It's too connected. Because one thing should not negate or really one thing should not tear you down.
Right.
Because look, and look, they tell you about that in relationships. They be like, if something happened in your relationship and something terrible happened, and now you in your house for the next 26 days, the lights done turned off, you ain't got no food, just skinny to the all of that. Look, honey, something is wrong.
What happened in that relationship where you ain't got no food no more?
Like, well, it's this
Well,
idea that like you're so bent out of shape because of a relationship or work or school or anything like that that it affects you so personally. That is how you know it's too intertwined.
oh,
These things should be happening and occurring together, but not necessarily there shouldn't be infused to the point that if you had made a bad grade on something or you didn't get into like a certain program you wanted to get into, it should not be the end of the world. Now, take a second, process it, maybe cry a little bit. It might help,
You can
but
be mad. You can be
you can
mad.
be mad.
that is
But
your right.
right, but the thing about it is if you feel like everything about who you are as a person was tied to whatever decision that was like something that another person made or did, that's how you know, okay, you need to find you again. You got to ground yourself into what am I actually doing? What do I want to do? Who am I as a person? And it's hard. That is hard to know the difference between like something that is just a part of your life versus something that is like too embedded in who you are,
Mm,
right? And this is why I think we talk so much about balance and everything because the richness that I get from the people in my life is not because we do professional development together. It's not because we necessarily like are on the same tracks. It is because of who we are as individual people, and it's like nourishment to me, right? And it's a part of that, you know what I mean? So you have to have some degree of separation between school, work, professional development, and who you are as a person. Because if what you'll notice is if things go wrong over here, work, school, relationships, da 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 da, and everything over in your personal life starts crumbling, or personal growth, you as a whole person starts crumbling, you haven't built this up. There's no foundation for this. That is why it's falling.
mm.
So then we got to talk about this a little bit more.
Correct. I will say, oh, Anthony, you go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, now there is sometimes there's one particular thing that will get me in a rut, and that's car problems.
Ooh.
I go straight depressed. And I just lay in the bed and I'm just depressed.
Same.
First of
And
all,
then when I get my car back, I'm so happy.
anyone that doesn't know, Michael is terrible luck with cars. Just terrible luck with cars.
After Betsy,
Michael and the car, even Betsy was on her last leg for 6 damn
hey,
months.
but Betsy, she took me everywhere. She took me to Michigan.
And I love that for her. I really do.
I miss her every day.
I think we also have to realize that somebody else's decision should not impact your entire life. Because that is somebody else's decision. Their decision, again, you can take no's for a little second. You can be mad, you can do whatever, but it's about how you get up and what are you going to do next? Okay. I see it so many times especially, teaching middle school and high school, they get told no sometimes. And some of them are like, I don't want to do this anymore. No, baby. Mm-mm. That's not what we're doing. That is not what we are teaching you to do. It's about, okay, so what are we going to do next? Because at the end of the day, here's how society works. It's about how you're going to get up, because at the end of the day, look, there's some bills you got to pay, baby.
And
you got
they
a
ain't gonna
you got
pay it late.
bill, you got a rent.
Right.
So a job told you no. Okay, look, there's another job over there. Let's go get that job. Ooh, look, actually, this job might be paying better than the others. Ooh, look at that. Again, as we said earlier, when one door closes, you never know what is down the street. That got your name. That's asking you to come here. You don't know. Sometimes a no is a blessing.
Mm. Mm.
You have to be
Yeah.
ready to receive it. And here's the thing: when you set yourself up to be like, you know what, I would like for this to happen, and if it don't, it's okay.
Just don't.
It's don't, and we gonna move on. And I'm gonna still be okay. I'm gonna still be just like Mary J. Blige said, just fine, 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 fine. Okay, she said that for a reason. Look, that was my mama's favorite song. Okay, like that's an auntie song right there.
It is.
So, you're gonna be fine, baby. You are going to be fine.
Well, one thing I had to start realizing as you get older, because you ask, I'm guilty of this and I'm getting better. But like when I find out when I find stuff out and I'm just very confused, and there's reasons I'm confused, I'm not gonna disclose them, but I get real pissed. I'm just like, why did that happen?
Mm.
And I do get mad, but then I have to remember, at the end of the day, all you control is you.
Yes.
And your actions.
Uh-huh.
So because you had a bad day, you're gonna take it out of your friends.
Mm.
So you're gonna shit on their day because you had a bad day.
Mm.
Excuse my French.
Not French.
Like it's just like you have to know, like, and just because you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you're gonna take it out on your middle schoolers
Mm.
Mm.
Talk
or
about
your kids. Like you are you, and you can control you. You control your actions. You control your habits. Michael is 34 days without soda.
Mm.
You sticking to it.
And I'm 5 days without coffee.
That's crazy.
That makes me a little crazy. The
Again,
coffee one,
Lauren, you know how Michael is with coffee chow
And soda. Like
and
always.
soda, right?
and
Mm-hmm.
I would tell y'all, I feel much more awake in the mornings.
Mm.
But again, you can control you. You can't control somebody else.
Mm.
So because someone else is doing the things you want to do, like they got the yes where you got the no, maybe you needed the no.
Ooh.
Right.
Like I needed my no 2.5 years ago when I went for a DMA program. I needed that no to get out in the world and do my own stuff. And you never know what you need until you get it. And then you look back on life and you're like, that was the best decision I've ever made.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
But you can't see it because you're here.
You're
Nope.
here.
And that's what sucks the most. And that's something that I feel like when I talk to like people and students in particular, and I tell them because they're asking questions like, well, what do I do if this happens? Or I'm in this situation and I just don't know what to do. And in those moments, all I can offer is exactly what Michael just said. You don't see it right now.
Mm.
But the things that are like you feel, especially at those young ages, like the high schoolers who are going into college or undergrads about to go into their first jobs, or maybe a degree program, they want to get a higher degree, the no's that they get feel so concentrated because they're still going through development and they haven't experienced all the things that it's not like we're like old yet, but we
Right.
have some more experience now out in the professional like field and within higher ed, so we can speak to it and say, hey, I know how that feels. That no, oh, I felt that. And I thought it was the end of the world. I didn't understand it. I was angry. I was upset. I didn't know where to go. I felt so lost, and I could not see where I am now. I can't right now. I can't see what the end of this year is going to look like. I have no clue. And I used to be terrified about that, actually. I used to hate change. I used to hate not knowing what was going on.
Eat
And now
salad.
I'm like, wait, I'm kind of excited because I have no clue. I have no idea what's about to happen.
I don't know what's about to happen, but you know what? I'm open to whatever's about to happen. I'm like, look, honey, my hands is up in the air. Bring it to me. Let's go. I feel like I'm in a poker game and I'm ready to. Also, by the way, I really want to learn poker. If anybody is watching that knows how to teach poker, let me know. Because I'm
I
really
was,
on this casino because we're all going on a cruise at the
hey
end of
man.
okay. And I'm trying to go to the casino and win them thousands of dollars.
Ooh,
Okay, well, let's start with maybe 50
ooh.
Mm.
and
Oh,
work our way to the hundreds, and then we'll get to see. I will say this is Anthony is 2 days in a row now that he is asked to learn how to play poker. So it might be a trend.
It might be.
I've always wanted to play poker. I've always wanted to know. It just looks cool. Like, okay, when y'all like go see James Bond and stuff like that, or one of them television shows where they're just playing poker, they pick up the cards, like,
Right.
you're like, right. You're just like looking like, let me, and they make a lot of money. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be.
See, I'm one of those people that's like
Ooh.
raised.
And you know it's a lie.
I go straight bluffing off the bat.
Michael ain't got no cards to do nothing with, and he's like, Raise, take off.
A wise man once taught me this. You don't play the game,
You play the people,
play the person.
person, either way.
Well, I was gonna say man, but we're in 2024. You play the person.
Actually, this I don't even know how we got back on this, but my brain immediately went back to this idea of like systems and structures. Let's be honest. There are systems and structures in place that affect people, right? There are people who are in these positions of power who make a law, who make a new rule, a new whatever that does affect people, right? It may not directly affect you, or maybe it does, right? And this is why it's so important that there are people from different perspectives who are in those positions, right? Because if it is just the same people from the same backgrounds who have the same perspectives who are running and governing and ruling everything, you're never going to actually get equity when it comes to like systemic things. We're like in these moments like we're talking about you can only control you, blah blah. That's you, right? As a person, as a being, and how you go throughout life. But we all know we pay rent, right? You can't help that. You go to the grocery store, you go get gas, or you take public transportation. Those are all things that you utilize. You must do, and you have no control over that. You're like, I gotta pay rent.
Yep.
I gotta go get groceries. I gotta get gas if I want to drive my car. Sadly. So with all that, I always, 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 always say, if you can be in those positions and that is something that you are confident and comfortable in, and you're like, I really want to be in the rooms where I can help, bring about change, go for it. Go for it, because you will someday you can be in a position where you actually make a decision that directly or indirectly helps people, right? That people, like, a lot of the time we talk about how systems and structures hurt, they can also help, right? Which is what I love to be, the things that I like to do. That is what I want to be there. I want to be there to help more and more and more people, because right now most of the systems and structures we have don't really do that, especially for people of color. You know what I mean? And in terms of education, especially within our field, we're going to talk about music, the arts in general.
Mm.
Especially if you are within a program where maybe you're the only person of color in your program, or you're one of two, one of three even, there may be this pressure of assimilating, right, to the structures that are currently in place. And that's understandable, right? It may feel uncomfortable to not fit in. You want to fit in, right? It's uncomfortable. You go to a new environment, you want people to like you. You see they're doing one thing and you're like, "Well, this doesn't feel necessarily natural for me, but I would do it because everyone else is doing it." I'm not saying any of this in a negative context. I'm saying like I understand, right? I hear you. I hear you. But at the same time, there is so much beauty in you as an individual, and any environment that does not push you to be who you are as an individual, they don't deserve you to be there.
Oof.
Mm-mm.
And they're never actually going to help you. They may take you as far as they want to, they want to. And as soon as you are no longer needed by them, they no longer need to use you. Maybe they found another one,
Mm,
right? It will discard you just as quickly as they found you. Like never forget that you are still who you look like to them, no matter how much you try to assimilate to what they have or
mm,
who they are. You'll never be them. And
mm,
they'll always know that.
mm. Speak on it.
And I will just say to add to this, I've been in like a couple of rooms and stuff where people have tried to assimilate. And I come back to Lauren Anthony. I'm like, okay, so why is this person saying these words?
Mm,
And from a room of these people,
mm,
giving them the power to think they can say these words.
Mm,
Like, that's dangerous and giving ammunition. It's not even, it's just giving power or ammunition, but power to people that don't need it, that already have it in a sense.
mm.
So even if you try to assimilate, I urge you not to. But be careful about the words you use in front of people and how loosely you throw certain things out.
Mm,
I
mm,
think it goes to also a bigger topic um, as well about dealing with your own personal trauma of
mm.
what you maybe grew up in.
Ooh.
Mm.
Because as it is Black History Month, some things that we have to talk about and deal with is it feels as though once you get to a certain level in your career, you have to put your Blackness aside and
Mm,
separate yourself from your Blackness because that is what is socially acceptable. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that is never going to be me. Shall I eat my collard greens, my cornbread, my pigtails, my pig feet on a good old Sunday? And that'll never change. And it will never change. And I'm not going to sit here and put on some type of mask for you because that's just not it. But I think we got to have that conversation to say, like, I I know someone. I had a conversation with a person who they said, I love our people.
mm,
However, I'm always a little hesitant when a when I'm in a space that is all of us, because it is like, what are the others thinking? What are the white people thinking we're doing? That's trauma you have developed over some time. That you have to do the personal growth. You have to go and really ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Why is it that when I'm with people that are my culture, why do I feel like it's a bad thing? But
right.
on the complete flip side, we're always seeing when other races of people are gathered together, and it is I A never talked about, or B it is celebrated.
Mm.
So why is it that when we as Black people feel when we get together, we're always wondering what are other people thinking instead of just enjoying each other and fellowshipping with each other?
It's 1000% this like this social conditioning, right? Of especially during civil rights era and whenever, we were trying to push forward with change, the idea of seeing a group of black people together, everyone was scared. Black
Mm.
people were scared that they were going to get caught, right, by authorities. White people would just go, oh, 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 they're rioting, they're rioting,
Yes.
immediately they're rioting.
Mhm.
So it is absolutely this. I think it's like, people talk about what is it, genetic trauma and like other things that are passed down and down and down. Unfortunately, if you have not decolonized yourself mentally or understood the traumas that may have been passed on that you need to get over, you're going to have this fear of like, what are other people thinking that I'm in a room full of Black people? You are Black. You are Black.
That is what you are,
What are you
baby.
talking about? Because half the time I don't be talking about nothing. I be talking just crazy. Just be gabbing. Just
Mhm.
gabbing. You know what I mean? And like, stop. So first of all, if you're worried, you need to ask yourself why. Because if people do see a room full of beautiful Black people gathering, chatting, laughing, drinking, kikiing, all these things, and they're scared, that's
Mm.
their own problem. That's their own problem. But for you to not want to be a part of that fellowshipping because you're afraid of what people are going to think about you, oh, girl,
I can do nothing for you.
I can't do nothing. But
I can do
I
nothing
don't
for
know.
you. Because then it's like, whose side are you playing?
Mm,
Because you've now isolated yourself away from the people that truly understand you on a different level now.
right.
We share trauma. We share many of our experiences so that you can find your proximity to the others. And honey, they're not trusting you either. So then where do you end up? That's my question. Where do you end up?
And here's the thing, especially for young students, you're going out into the world. Maybe you already find yourself in a situation where you're like, I'm in a predominantly white friend group or a friend group that is like, I'm the only Black person in my friend group. And maybe you're hearing them say things, right? I've heard, people mention past friend groups. They're like, oh, you're not like other Black people though. Oh, but you're different though. And all those, that's not a compliment. I'm putting this on the record. It's not a compliment to say that. Don't ever say that to a Black person.
Period.
Stop it.
Period.
Because what you think you're saying is, I don't e, there's no positive anything by what you could be saying by that. And you should not feel flattered that your non-Black friends say that you don't act like other Black people. That's insane.
Mm.
And I understand if you are in a situation where you're in school and maybe you are the only person of color or Black person there, and you are like, well, I found people who support me and care for me. Make sure they support you and care for you as who you actually are and not what you have made yourself to be around them. That
Mm.
is very different. Ooh.
And to add on that, not just who you made yourself to be around them or but what you can provide to them.
Mm.
Mm. It's so sad. I'm so, like it. I think about how many young Black students go through schooling, and especially within the arts, and you want to be around creative types, and you want to find your friend groups, and you find yourself pushing your identity more and more inside of you as you continue to climb up, whether or not that's like through school or through work, whatever. I want to encourage you and empower you to step into your identity, step into
Mm.
your truth, step into who you are, whatever that means. And here's the thing, we're not all the same. Like, let me also just say that there's no one way to be Black. We are not a monolith. There are
Right.
so many different ways that you yourself can express your identity, your Blackness, and what you do and how you do it,
Mm.
right? Me and Anthony, love, respect, kindness,
Mm.
all these things. But we are on different journeys and we are different people. And that does not mean one of us identifies more as Black than the other. We are both from the South, raised in very religious households, you know what I mean?
True.
Like all these things. But that does not mean that our experiences are exactly the same,
Right.
right? Because it's not. It truthfully, it just is not. We have a lot of shared trauma of, in general, being a Black person, a Black American in the States. Yes, we have that trauma that we go through in different ways, right? But you yourself as an individual are different.
Mm.
I never speak on the behalf of Black people. I never speak on the behalf of even Black women. I speak on the behalf of Lauren, right? Because that is all I can do. That is all today,
All I can
yesterday, forever, you know?
all I can do
All you
and
can
all I
control.
will do. That is
Mm,
all I will do. I will tell you how I feel about a situation
mm.
as
Right.
my experience being who I am.
Mm,
But I'm not saying that this is we all had a Black people meeting
mm,
and this is what the answer is. This is my experience, which is not everybody's experience. But I think on that as well, you have to realize that you are part of the culture too. And there are shared experiences, yes. Long as you realize that we all are fighting and we all are asking for and pleading for such a long period of time to just be treated like human beings.
mm,
Mm.
Because that goes back to, it feels like some saying, okay, yes, I know our shared experience and yes, blah, 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 but I'm trying to shed that away. That happened so long ago. Get over it. Honey, it's
mm,
not that long ago.
mm,
Actually, a lot of the things that are happening now have been happening
mm,
for hundreds and hundreds of years. It has just masked itself or it's morphed itself into something else.
mm.
So I need you to get that language out of your complete Rolodex because that is not true. Long ago, when we have a piece, I remember I saw a group doing American Guernica by Adolphus Hailstork, which told the story about, or not told the story, but it was based on the bombing in Birmingham in 1963, which there's also a book called The Watsons Go to Birmingham 1963. If you've never read the book, you have to read the book. But it's based on that too. And I remember people saying, oh, that was just so long ago. That is my father's age. Those girls that lost their life is my father's generation.
Yeah.
Like my direct person above me. That it long ago,
No.
honey. My parents tell me what was desegregation like.
Mm, right.
Because we're taught, oh, that was so long ago.
Mm,
The next person in our genetic makeup,
mm,
not like great, 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 great. This is the generation above us
right.
can tell you what it was actually like. So
Mm,
that's what we're going. We have to stop with the verbiage that things happened so long ago. Civil rights was so long ago. No, it actually was not.
I just to prove that fact, I was just looking up some stuff. Okay, so MLK was born
mm,
in 1929 and
mm.
died in 1968. Strauss was alive.
Mm, period.
Strauss was alive while MLK was alive. For the classical people, put that into perspective. Richard Strauss was alive while MLK was alive.
Mm.
They overlapped.
Mm.
See, they don't want to hear that much because they're like, oh my gosh.
Because Strauss died in 1949.
Mm.
So they overlap by 20 years.
Mm.
And something I'm going through all the myths and things that have been even tried to be pushed into my own head during my, you know, as I've been growing, and the amount of people, who will try to defend like this idea of like, oh, like you don't need DEIA, like you got so far and look at you did it and you didn't need blah 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 blah. And
Mm.
I'm like, that's crazy that you just said that actually to
That's
me.
actually a very wild statement that
It's
you just said.
wild because it's this idea, because people, again, they want to only think about equality, right? And back in the day, at first, it was like, oh yeah, everyone has the right to vote. Everyone can go buy property. Everyone can go to the bank and blah 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 blah. Blah. On paper, equality is what you want, right? But that is not what life actually is, right? Because you may try to go to the bank as a black business owner for a loan to get to for your new business and you get denied. Whereas you have a maybe your partner, your business partner who is a white person goes into a bank and gets more than they actually need. That
Mm.
is the truth of what and that's currently right. Isn't that something that's going on with Navy Federal that they just got into hot water with like get like the loans, to specifically
I
like with
sure
black kids
did. Sure did.
and not have equality in a system that it does has no equity. That's what we really need to talk about. People don't really want to understand what the difference between because equality is I give you a pen, I give you a pen. Period. You can do whatever you want with this pen. Survival of the fittest, right? That's not true because this pen in the one hand goes a little bit further within this system that we have than a pen in a different hand. And that is the truth, right? A dollar here and a dollar here is very different.
You got two pens.
Right.
Well, the best thing I've seen, shout out to Jack Eady,
Yeah.
Marcus Morris, and
William Irvin.
and William Irvin. They gave a presentation at GMA and they showed equity and equality on the same thing. And one was like everybody had the same box.
Right.
And there was a short person, a medium sized, and a tall person. Well, the
Right.
short and medium sized still couldn't see over the fence.
Period.
I've seen that one.
And then the people got the short person got a big box. Medium sized person got a medium box. The big person got a little box. And they could all see over the fence and they're all the same height now. Like that is what we're talking about.
Equity. That's equity. And so all the programs that when people like we were seeing the lawsuits happening with affirmative action and all these and it's making my head hurt. But because people are trying to say, oh, like you can't discriminate on, race and all this to get scholarships or get fellowships or to get into schools and all these different things. Again, you're trying to make equality a thing in a system that is inequitable. There's no equity. You're never going to get equality. It's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you're putting us back to where we were, where people are going to, oh, great, I can start like not having to think of it. But you have to think about not everyone's starting at the same place in the race. Not everyone is starting from the same place. And I will never forget Credo in Elmhurst, Illinois, summer festival, and Bonnie Boyd, who's flute professor at Eastman. I remember we had a fireside chat, and I remember going to this camp. I was the only Black person at this camp. I was terrified. It was the summer before I went to KSU to start my undergrad. I felt like I was so behind. I literally had like the pieces people were playing, the ages they were playing I felt crazy. Like I shouldn't be here. I was like, I truly don't. It was a lot. And I remember crying the first 2 nights and being like, I don't deserve to be here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think it was midweek when we had the fireside chat with Bonnie. And I asked an anonymous question was like, when you are like auditioning people for like schools or da da da, like, do you take into consideration where the person is from and like their background when making decisions on admissions? Which basically what I was saying, because I'm hearing people like my colleagues who are there at the camp, Chicago Symphony Youth Orchestra, New York Phil's Youth Orchestra, all these, like they lived in those cities where they had that lesson since they were 5 years old. I didn't have that, right? I was not near where these students were who we were at the same age, or if they were a little bit older, a little bit younger than me, we were nowhere near the same place.
Right.
And I remember Bonnie looking and she was like she read it and she like sat with it for a moment. And she was like, I always take into consideration what someone did with where they were over anything. And I was like, I literally had to like stop myself from crying so that people wouldn't know that it was like my question that was asked, because that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, is she just going to hear everyone equally and say, nope, I like this person more, I like this, and just do that, instead of going, wow, this person had nowhere near the amount of opportunities and experience as these seven under candidates, but look at what they did with where they were. And if I were to take them on and give them those resources and pour into them, I
Mm-hmm.
it, right, just shoot. That is, and for me, that is what I needed to hear to go, keep going, let's go.
Yep.
It's
That's what
okay.
I hear. Yep.
Keep going. You know what I mean? And not every teacher thinks that way. Let me say that. So I will shout out Bonnie, like, but not every teacher thinks that way. And it's unfortunate though, because imagine all the opportunity, the beautiful minds and talents that are in those schools in these areas that don't have the resources and opportunities. Who, if you give them those resources and opportunities, they're going to easily catch up to where students who've had it for their entire lives are, and then they can finally get on equal footing,
Mm.
right?
And I think as we then become teachers, we have to take that as well to say, look at all the hurdles that this person got through
Yes.
to be here. They deserve this.
Mm.
The others, and I think a lot of people, they get so hell bent on, well, it seems like they just got it, and I've been here and I've done this and doing that, and they get so angry.
Mm.
It's like, but you didn't have the same struggles and hurdles they went through. Because if you go back to, I think it was last season, I was telling you how I was in a class and a young man was like, I can't help but feeling that certain people just get placed in positions over me when I know that I'm better.
Mm.
Well, young man, number one, that is something that you need to have a conversation with yourself. Why do you think you're better?
Mm.
Because you went to Blue Lake or you went to this festival and that festival. But here's another young person who parents did not have the money or couldn't raise the money or literally maybe was living alone.
Mm.
But for some reason, that instrument or whatever their musical ability was getting them through, and they're practicing, they're doing all these things, and they didn't have those opportunities. But damn it, they got the talent, they have the drive, the passion to do it. And it takes a beautiful teacher to sit there and say, now this is someone who can go very far.
Mhm.
So when you feel as though somebody outranked you, baby, it's deeper than what you see in that iceberg. It's the tip of the iceberg. That's what you see. But oh Lord, there is so much below that, so much below that that you will never see. And honestly, it's not your business to see.
Right.
No. And also this whole rhetoric of like, I feel like these people are getting these positions that I know I deserve.
Mm.
Then why didn't you get it?
Mm,
If you are better, why didn't you win?
mm,
Like, again, this goes right back. Do not dim someone else's light because yours is not shining as bright as you want it to.
mm.
That means you have put your professional development over your personal growth. And the minute you start throwing this professional development further, like, oh, I know I'm better than them, you're just crumbling your foundation of your personal growth because you're becoming less of a person.
Yep.
Like that's just the one thing, like it's a very undergrad thing to do. It's like, oh, I'm better than that person. Oh, I don't know why this person at this university is doing this because like I'm doing it over here and blah, 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 blah. Very undergrad thing to do. When you get out in the world, it's if you getting the money or not. Are you getting the calls? Are you getting called back?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I want people to sit more, because we talk a lot about like rejections and how to take them and seeing them as opportunities. I encourage you to do that as well.
Mm,
You know
mhm,
what I mean? I'm flipping it, to say, whenever you do get those no's, instead of going, I deserve to have it, and blah, 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 and making it about other people getting things over you based off of things that are outside of their own control that you think is the reason why they got it over you. I encourage you, say, you know what? Maybe this wasn't mine. And
Maybe.
maybe I need to go somewhere else because you'll probably get hired somewhere else, right? There are other people. The person who may have gotten that job over you, this may have been one of the only places who would have taken them because of things out of their control. And that is a difference. That is why I don't want to hear any boohoo crying from specifically like white men in these positions who are like, I'm not getting it and people are getting it over me. You will have a job, sir.
Calm down. Calm down.
Like there will never be a point in your life where you're like, I'm unemployed. No.
Because, honey, just shut up. Like, I'm
Right.
sorry. Like,
Like at the end of the day, go cry to somebody else. It won't be me. It
it
will
won't
not
be me. Because I was sick.
Oop.
And he will play that little violin
They
too.
will, and they will actually. What is it? A wounded dog will howl, or a shot dog will howl, whatever it is. But
Shot
Oh,
dog.
not Lauren showing us she's a little country still.
hello.
Okay.
Listen, like so. No, I don't want to hear. Especially, don't talk to me about it during February either. Don't talk to me about it ever. But definitely don't bring that to me during February because I will really look at you like you're crazy. Talk to me about not feeling like you got equal rights.
Girl.
Lauren and these pins. Lauren and these pins today. You better tell them.
Yeah, I don't know. So all that to say, young Black people, we hear you. We've been there. We feel you.
Mhm.
And what I want, especially young Black creatives, step into what is authentic for you. Whatever that means for you, step into it because I have never felt more liberated and more supported than when I actually did projects and am doing projects that actually feel like I'm fully representing myself holistically,
Mhm.
right? You can, I mean, and that can look very different. Again, going back to we're not a monolith. You don't have to do what I'm doing to feel like you're fully authentic. You have to do what you think is authentic, what you feel is authentic to who you are, right? And encourage others who are a part of this, right? Maybe you yourself are not a Black person, but you want things to be better. And even people who maybe you're just trying to understand, like I don't know, like blah, blah. I want you to just take a moment and like fully think about what you actually want. Are you here to help? Are you here to just challenge others who are trying to make it better for themselves? Are you here to like be a part of it? Because you got a lot to learn.
Mm.
Like for us to have been here, because very briefly, allyship. For us to get to where we are now, it couldn't have been just us, right? We had to have people also on the other sides who are right next to us, fighting and pushing, sometimes even in front of us,
Mm.
pushing, opening the door, pulling us in the rooms. But it takes work. It takes for you to listen to what's going on. It takes for you to understand what is going on in rooms where you are not and rooms where we are not. I just really encourage you throughout this time, and please don't let a tragedy, another mass tragedy, be the reason as to why you're asking these questions. We don't need another George Floyd for you to try to open a book and understand why equity matters,
Mm.
right? You can take the time right now to say,
Right.
I want to be a part of this change. I want to understand what is going on. I want to be a part of the help because we do need you, okay? Like
Mhm.
we do need you to be a part of this because a society is only as good as the worst treated member of it. Period. And if that doesn't scare you with how we are in the States right now, I don't know what will.
All right.
Not
All
sure
right.
what will.
I just one little quick thing before we go on allyship.
Mm.
Part of allyship and part of just like existing in this world, don't ask your friends if that was the right thing to do. Or
Mm.
if you are, don't go for confirmation. It's not their right. Like I don't need to go for Lauren and be like, hey, I said this thing. Was I wrong to say this thing? If you have that thought, you're probably wrong. Like
Mm.
just like in your head, go ahead and say, boom. Okay, what do I need to do next time?
Yep.
They're not there. They're living their own lives. Your friends have their own lives. They're not there to check your every little. Now check my spelling errors. Yes, because I can't spell, as I said on Twitter. But to like make sure you said the right thing, you have a brain in between both ears,
Mhm.
and you need to listen to yourself more.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you got to ask if you messed up, just go ahead and say you messed up.
Right.
Yeah. And so all of this to say, happy Black History Month.
E?
Stay Black, stay proud, stay loving each and every one. We're doing nothing but celebrating in this month.
Mhm.
And nobody can break your peace. So until next time, be happy, be safe, and be proud. See y'all next week. Bye.